What's up, guys? Welcome back to I Build Music Studios. I'm Mike DeSalvo. Welcome to the wonderful world of recording studios, where dreams come true and your sanity goes to die. Today, we're going to be discussing audio and data cabling, because without that, your studio is really just an expensive closet. Have you ever seen something like this? This is something that happens when you think that future you will deal with the problem. Don't be that person. Future you has enough problems. Here are the steps in order to avoid this. Plot out every location where an audio or data connection is required in the studio. Then map out where each audio or data connection will terminate. Most times this will terminate at a patch bay. From there, it will be distributed to the console or outboard mic pre's and so on. Line level will be hardwired to its own patch bay in the control room, where it'll have 1/4-inch jacks for both speaker and instrument. Cat 6 and HDMI are generally specialized. They can be used for headphone systems, networking, HDMI to Cat 6 converters for ADR, or a plethora of possibilities. Always over-cable your studio rather than under-cable. It will help you avoid saying this.
Houston, we have a problem.
Pro tip: label everything. As you lay your cable, make sure you label both ends appropriately. This will save you a ton of time on the back end when you go to terminate. We recommend using a Brother P-Touch labeler, as we found that a Sharpie and painter's tape just doesn't hold up in a construction environment. Now it's time to choose your weapons. Not all cables are created equally, so here's your cheat sheet. First, we have XLR for microphones, like this one here. TRS for balance signals, because nobody likes noise in their mix. And TS for guitar, instrument, or speaker level inputs, like this one here. Cat 6 for data, because you're not streaming Spotify, you're running Dante or AVB networks like Audio Ninja. HDMI for video, because sometimes you need to see the mess you're making. MIDI, because yeah, folks are still using that. USB, Thunderbolt, or other computer data wires. When either renovating or building a new studio, you'll need to source cabling. Our standard install cable is Rapco Horizon, and if they really want to audiophile out, they can upgrade to Kanar or Megami. It comes in many different options at many different price points. Remember, for a lot of this, you'll be installing bulk cable and then terminating the ends after installation. If you can get away with a pre-made snake, well, God bless. That generally only happens in smaller one-room builds. You'll also want to think about wall panels. We have ours custom made for every job. This one here is for a job we're doing right now. It's for a small ISO booth. They can be made up to 2 foot by 2 foot with any audio connector that you need. For more information about these, send us a direct message or shoot us an email. If you're building a new studio, you can install conduits, those magical tubes that let you run cables through the wall without cursing your past life choices. Be your own best friend and account for this.
You're my best friend! You're my best friend!
Another option would be to use cable trenches in the floor. That's a bit more complicated and something we'll probably cover in another video. In a renovation, you can also use what's known as raceways or cable chases, like this, the Legrand Wire Mold 4000. When running low voltage or data wire, be sure to use a Smurf tube like this here when passing through top plates or bottom plates, and then be sure to seal the perimeter with an acoustic sealant or fire block to make sure you meet the town code. In the words of the notorious B.I.G., keep your audio and power completely separated. Well, I think that's what he said. I mean, in every studio build, you'll come across the inevitable situation where audio lines and electrical lines are going to cross. So here are some guidelines when you do come across that situation. If you are using MC shielded cable, as we discussed in our electrical intro video, if you're running audio and electrical lines parallel, you want to keep a minimum of 18 inches of space between those lines. For higher voltage lines, say a console or an analog tape machine, we would recommend keeping a minimum of at least 36 inches between those lines. When audio and electrical lines cross, always try to intersect them at a 90-degree angle to minimize the electrical field. Now, we could be opening the comments to a large argument here, but it has been common practice that when audio and electrical cables cross at a 90-degree angle to wrap your audio cables in aluminum foil to create sort of a Faraday cage. For installs, you're going to want a few things. Zip ties, cable cartridges, cable wrap like this, electrical tape, Velcro cable ties, cable trays, and if you're using duct tape, you are definitely doing it wrong, and this will haunt interns for decades to come. For new studio builds or larger renovations, this is generally when you'll tackle final cable termination. So you'll want to also have all of your XLR, TS, TRS, patch bays, Cat6, data cabling ready to go. You'll also want to have your soldering and crimping station ready to go. This means soldering iron, solder, vise, magnifying glass, fan for ventilation, wire strippers, etc. At this point, you can begin to plug things in. Before you close up walls or mount gear, let's go ahead and make sure every cable works.
Testing, 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 testing! Ah!
Nothing says professional studio like finding out half your patch bay doesn't work 5 minutes before a client session. One way of doing this is to buy a professional cable tester like a Proco or a multimeter and use the continuity setting. We will do a video at a later date on cable testing and termination. Cabling a recording studio isn't rocket science, but it is science. Do it right and you'll have a studio where creativity flows. Do it wrong and you'll be making lo-fi drone albums by candlelight while crying into a spaghetti monster of bad life choices. The choice is yours. Catch us next time.